There comes a point in life when the noise inside your mind feels louder than the world around you. You wake up already exhausted, not because your body is tired, but because your thoughts have been running long before your eyes even opened. You replay old conversations, you imagine future failures, you analyze every small detail of your day until nothing feels simple anymore. And even though you look perfectly normal on the outside, on the inside you're fighting a silent war. You start drifting through life instead of living it. When you sit with people, you're not really with them, your mind is somewhere else. When you try to rest, your thoughts drag you back into worry. When something good happens, you instantly prepare for it to fall apart. Your mind becomes a prison, and you become the prisoner who doesn't remember what freedom feels like. But there's a way back to peace. There is a way to step out of your head and return to the world. A way to feel grounded again. Stoicism teaches that peace doesn't begin with changing life. It begins with changing the inner dialogue we've been blindly obeying for years. Today, we will walk through 7 Stoic principles that will help you calm your mind, return to the present, and finally stop living inside your head. These principles are not theories. They are tools, weapons, and if you use them, your mind will stop being an enemy and start becoming a place of clarity again. Principle 1. Shift from thought-based identity to action-based identity. One of the deepest traps of overthinking is believing that your thoughts define who you are. When you live inside your head, you begin to treat every worry, fear, and negative scenario as a reflection of your identity. Stoicism teaches the opposite. You are defined not by what you think, but by what you do. Psychologically, the mind overthinks because it tries to protect you from pain. It generates scenarios, warnings, predictions. But when you listen to all of them, you confuse mental noise with truth. Your identity becomes a maze of imagined problems, not real ones. Think of real-life situations. You want to send a message, but you rethink every word. You want to start a project, but you fear looking foolish. You want to set boundaries, but you replay the conflict in your head instead of taking action. Overthinking drains your courage because it convinces you that thinking more is the same as preparing more, when it's actually paralysis in disguise. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This quote cuts straight through the illusion. Your worth is measured by the decisions you make, not the thoughts you entertain. Practically, you break this pattern by shifting your focus from internal noise to external behavior. Take one small action whenever your mind spirals. Send the message, start the task, take the step. Movement interrupts mental chaos. Action reclaims control. And over time, you realize that the moment you stop letting your thoughts decide who you are, peace becomes possible again. Principle 2. Detach from imagined futures and return to what's real. Most mental suffering doesn't come from the present moment. It comes from the future your mind keeps inventing. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that anxiety is almost always rooted in imagining what hasn't happened yet. Psychologically, the brain predicts danger to keep you safe. But when your imagination runs uncontrolled, you start believing that the future is a threat instead of a possibility. You overthink conversations you haven't had. You fear outcomes that never existed. You worry about problems that aren't real. Think of these examples. You hesitate to start a new job because you imagine failing. You avoid confronting someone because you imagine conflict. You hold yourself back from opportunities because you imagine embarrassment. None of these things have happened, yet your mind treats them like facts. Epictetus said, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." And when you truly understand this, something shifts. The practical solution is grounding. Whenever you catch yourself spiraling into the future, pause and ask, what is actually happening right now? Not in my imagination, not in my predictions, but in this very moment. This question brings you out of your head and back into reality. When you anchor your attention to what's real, your breath, your surroundings, your task, your thoughts lose their power to pull you into imaginary suffering. Peace returns not because life changes, but because you stop fighting battles that only exist inside your mind. Principle 3. Stop trying to control what you don't own. Overthinking grows from the illusion of control. When life feels uncertain, the mind tries to overmanage every detail, people's opinions, outcomes, reactions, timing. It becomes exhausting because you're trying to govern a world that doesn't belong to you. Psychologically, humans crave predictability. We fear the unknown. So the mind tries to fill the gaps with scenarios, plans, and assumptions. But the more you attempt to control what isn't yours, the more chaos you create inside yourself. Examples appear everywhere. You replay someone's reaction because you want to control how they see you. You overthink a decision because you want to guarantee the perfect outcome. You analyze someone's behavior because you're afraid of being misunderstood. All of this drains your peace because you've placed your emotional well-being in things you can never fully control. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And most of that suffering is caused by resisting uncertainty. The practical solution is to draw a clear line between what is yours and what is not. Your actions are yours, your words are yours, your effort is yours. But other people's thoughts, outcomes, and judgments, they never belong to you. Once you release the need to control the uncontrollable, your mind becomes lighter. Peace replaces pressure. Life becomes simpler. And for the first time, you realize you were drowning not because life was too heavy, but because you were carrying what was never yours to hold. Principle 4. Your thoughts are not commands. Learn to observe instead of obey. Most people suffer because they believe every thought deserves a reaction. But Stoicism teaches a radical truth. Thoughts are just thoughts. They are not facts, they are not prophecies, and they are not orders. Psychologically, thoughts appear automatically. They arise from memory, emotion, habit, and environment. The problem isn't the thought, it's the attachment. When you hear a negative thought and immediately engage with it, argue with it, or obey it, you reinforce its power. Consider these everyday moments. You think, "I'm not good enough," and instantly believe it. You think, "They probably don't like me," and treat it as reality. You think, "This will go wrong," and your body reacts as if it's guaranteed. But none of these thoughts are truths. They're mental events. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." But notice he didn't say you have to absorb every thought, only that you must choose which ones you engage with. The practical application is detachment. When a thought appears, don't fight it and don't indulge it. Simply notice it, label it, let it pass like a cloud drifting through the sky. Observation weakens attachment. Distance weakens fear. Eventually you realize peace doesn't come from controlling your thoughts, but from refusing to let them control you. Principle 5. Redirect emotion into discipline. Instead of rumination. Overthinking is emotional energy with no direction. It's your mind trying to process feelings, fear, insecurity, regret, longing, but instead of expressing them, it spins them endlessly. Stoicism teaches that emotions are not meant to trap you, they're meant to guide you. Psychologically, when an emotion builds up with no outlet, the brain keeps replaying it in thought form. That's why you overthink past mistakes, future risks, or hidden fears. The emotion isn't the enemy, the stagnation is. Look at real life. You feel anxious, so you start analyzing everything. You feel insecure, so you replay conversations looking for signs of rejection. You feel unprepared, so you think instead of acting. The emotion fuels the spiral because it has nowhere else to go. The Stoic solution is redirection. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." It's a call to embrace discomfort through action, not rumination. Instead of thinking about the gym, go. Instead of worrying about a decision, make it. Instead of analyzing a conversation, address it. Discipline channels emotion into movement, and movement dissolves emotional stagnation. The moment you replace rumination with action, the mind stops looping. Energy flows, clarity returns, and life becomes peaceful because you stop feeding emotions with thought and start dissolving them through discipline. Principle 6. Let go of the need for mental perfection. One of the biggest reasons people live in their heads is because they want every decision, every moment, every conversation to be perfect. The mind becomes a constant editor, rewriting the past, rehearsing the future, polishing everything until nothing ever feels good enough. Psychologically, perfectionism is fear disguised as high standards. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. And the more you chase mental perfection, the more trapped you become in your thoughts. Examples are everywhere. You overthink a simple message because you want it to come across perfectly. You delay starting a project because it must be flawless. You rehearse what to say so much that you lose the ability to speak naturally. Perfectionism steals presence. It replaces life with mental rehearsal. Stoicism gives you a liberating truth. Excellence is effort, not flawlessness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Just do the right thing, the rest doesn't matter." Not the perfect thing, the right thing. The practical shift is to embrace imperfection as part of the path. Speak even if your voice trembles. Start even if you're unprepared. Act even if you're uncertain. Life becomes peaceful the moment you stop demanding perfection from yourself and start accepting the beauty of being human. Principle 7. Anchor yourself in the present through physical awareness. The fastest way to escape your mind is to return to your body. Stoics knew that presence begins with the physical world. Your breath, your movement, your senses. When you're fully grounded, the mind loses its ability to drag you away. Psychologically, overthinking is a disconnection from the present moment. Your body is here, but your mind is somewhere else. Grounding pulls them back together. Examples: you're eating but thinking about work. You're walking but reliving an argument. You're trying to rest but imagining worst-case scenarios. The mind hijacks the moment and replaces reality with thought. Epictetus said, "Wherever you are, there your mind should be also." That is presence. That is peace. Practically, you anchor yourself through simple physical awareness, slow breathing, noticing textures around you, feeling the weight of your body, grounding your feet on the floor, paying attention to your senses. These small shifts pull your mind back into your body. When you live in the present instead of inside your head, life becomes richer, clearer, calmer. You stop drowning in thought because you finally return to where your life is actually happening. Right here, right now. Here's one daily practice to calm your mind: the Stoic return to the center ritual. Once a day, sit in silence for 2 minutes. Breathe slowly. Ask yourself 3 questions. What is in my control right now? What is not? What is the next small action I can take? This practice blends Stoic logic with modern psychology. It interrupts spiraling thoughts, grounds you in reality, and shifts your focus back to action. Do it every morning or every night. The more consistent you are, the quieter your mind becomes. You train your brain to stop reacting and start observing. You retrain your nervous system to feel safe in the present moment. Peace becomes a habit, not a rare experience. If you've made it this far, remember this: your mind was never supposed to be a cage. You were not born to live trapped in worry, fear, or endless thought. Peace is not something you wait for. It's something you build, one principle at a time. These Stoic tools are not ideas. They are weapons. Use them. Practice them. Let them reshape the way you think, act, and live. And if this video helped you return to yourself, subscribe to the channel and continue your journey towards strength, clarity, and inner peace. Watch the next video, and let's keep building the mindset that makes you undefeatable.